Educate the world about the power and importance of nutritional supplementation if you want to get your products at the wholesale price, or if you want to start a longevity business and make yourself some money selling longevity products. Click on the Join Now link at brightsideben.com or call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. Our number today is 866-582-9933. We do have a couple lines open for you. If you want to get on board, if you have questions about health or nutrition or the longevity products or prescription drugs, or if you have a success story you'd like to share, 866-582-9933 is our number. All right, so we're talking about anxiety issues. I remember a guy I used to know back in the 1990s. His name was Greg. He was a mental health patient. He was dealing with not just anxiety issues, social anxiety issues, but he also had a mild case of schizophrenia. Greg was a good guy, and he was hyperactive. He was jittery. He was a bit delusional, but he's a good guy. He's a smart guy, too. He was an outpatient at the mental health center in Boulder, and he liked to hang out at this health food store that I used to go to every morning, Alfalfa's. Alfalfa's, unfortunately, is no longer around. It was a wonderful health food store back in the 90s, and I would go in there every morning, and I would go get my breakfast juice. And while I would wait to get my juice, I would end up hanging out with Greg, and Greg would be drinking his big, huge 64-ounce Coke, which he would have every morning, and him and I would just chat a little. Greg was definitely a little crazy, but he was interesting to talk to, and he was a reasonably intelligent guy. So one day I got to talking to Greg about his schizophrenia. He was diagnosed schizophrenic as well as suffering from anxiety. And I started talking to him. He knew I was a pharmacist. And somehow we ended up talking about his medication. And I actually have a background in psychiatric pharmacy, so I knew a little bit about psychiatric meds. And Greg confided in me how much he hated taking his medication. So I got this idea, and I walked Greg over to the salad bar, and I picked stuff out for him. We concentrated on green veggies and protein, eggs and tuna fish, lots of sea salt and lots of spices, lots of oil. And from that day forward, every morning that I saw Greg, he and I would have this little ritual where I would order my juice and drink down my juice, and Greg would get a salad. He wouldn't drink his Coke, and we would just hang out for 15 or 20 minutes before I went to work. And anyway, long story short, within a week, Greg was like a new person. His voice was stronger. His voice was clearer. He was less delusional. He was making more sense, and eventually he had weaned himself off of most of his meds. He wasn't completely recovered. He was still on some medication, but the difference in his behavior and in his communication skills were obvious, and they were dramatic. The differences were dramatic. And when you think about it, that should come as no surprise, because while emotional and psychological issues may not be directly caused by nutritional and dietary factors, the kind of nutrients you get or don't get, the kind of foods you're eating or not eating, can't help but affect every single system of the body, including and especially the brain. The brain is using up energy faster than any other system in the body. So if you are dealing with nutritional deficiencies, or you're making poor dietary choices, it can't help but affect your brain, and it can't help but have impacts on anxiety. I'm not telling you that you're going to be able to completely cure yourself using nutrition and using dietary strategies, but I am telling you that you can make a heck of a big difference if you are dealing with any kind of anxiety disorder. So what can you do if you're one of the tens of millions of Americans who are dealing with anxiety issues? Well, probably the single most important thing you can do to immediately address anxiety, and I'm talking immediately, I'm talking within seconds, to address anxiety issues, no matter what kind of anxiety you're dealing with, PTSD or OCD or social anxiety disorder, or phobias, whatever. The single most important thing you can do to immediately address these kinds of issues is to learn how to turn on, how to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest, relaxation nervous system. At the risk of boring some of you guys, I'll just say it again. You got two kinds of nervous systems in the body. You have an emergency nervous system, a survival nervous system, a stress nervous system, whatever you want to call it. Technically, it's called the sympathetic nervous system. And you have a rest and digest relaxation nervous system. Technically, it's called the parasympathetic nervous system. By far and away, the large majority of activity should be occurring via parasympathetic rest and digest, relaxation, nervous system activation. Anxiety, from a neurological perspective, involves, obviously, if you think about it, it's obvious, anxiety involves activation of the body's emergency response system, which opposes this rest and digest nervous system, this relaxation nervous system. So many of the health crises that we are dealing with are nothing more than overactivation of this stress nervous system. I don't know how I can simplify it any more than that. And one of the most important concepts of health and wellness that we talk about here on the Bright Side is this idea that health is simple. It is not complicated. The medical priests want us to be confused. They want us to be overwhelmed. Don't fall for it. Health is not complicated, folks. One of the simplest ways that you can distinguish health from not health, or health from disease, is by distinguishing the stress response from the relaxation response. I just got a letter today from a gal who I talked to her a couple weeks ago about hot flashes, and I can't seem to find the letter now, but she sent me a update on her hot flashes. Here it is. She says, Ben, we talked on the phone about a month ago. I've been doing everything you said. It's not working. I got the progesterone cream from my doctor. It's not working. Well, this is a gal who was complaining about hot flashes. Folks, if you have hot flashes, nothing says stress response more clearly and more loudly and more definitively than hot flashes. Hot flashes are a stress response. If you're going through menopause and you're dealing with this kind of thing, or any kind of menopausal issues, you are dealing with a classic sign, a classic manifestation of the stress response, and you can't just rub a cream on and your stress response will disappear. That's not how it works. You got to learn how to activate the rest and digest relaxation nervous system, and the first thing to do, the most important thing to do to turn this relaxation nervous system on, and the best way to deal with anxiety, is to do the deep breathing thing. And I'm sorry to be just pounding on this deep breathing idea, but it is so important. If you're dealing with panic attacks or social anxiety disorder, learn to belly breathe, deep breathe. Make sure you do it slowly. Slowly is a key, and make sure you do it evenly. Many people who suffer from panic and anxiety attacks, they'll tell you right before their attacks start, they get shortness of breath, they get a smothering sensation, which makes perfect sense. If you understand how the stress nervous system works, it interprets deficiencies in oxygen as a major emergency. So as soon as your blood oxygen levels drop and your carbon dioxide levels rise, boom, you go into stress response. Now, whether or not the shortness of breath causes the panic attacks or the panic attacks causes the shortness of breath is a chicken and egg situation, but the fact remains that deep, slow breathing is the single best way to curtail or even prevent the occurrence of any kind of anxiety attack. And be very careful about breathing too fast. This can cause an accumulation of carbon dioxide and can actually make your anxiety and panic attacks even worse. Slowly and deeply, and always in and out through the nose, belly out on the inhale, belly in on the exhale. There's so much more to talk about when it comes to anxiety and panic attacks. I'll tell you about one more strategy you can use when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're coming back at you right after this. Don't go away.
Warnings of an American collapse hit us nearly every day. Gear up while you still can with Infidel Body Armor. Don't spend between $500 and $600. Infidel is available for just $374.99 with free shipping within the U.S. Made in America and legal in all 50 states. Resist tyranny with Infidel Body Armor. Buy yours today at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Spelled INFIDEL BodyArmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for $35,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet for $35,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Call 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead. You finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Jason! Jason!
Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with the host you're listening to right now, online at GCNlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with the host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at GCNlive.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
If you need to say happy birthday, happy anniversary, thank you, or simply I'm thinking of you, ProFlowers.com is the key. ProFlowers has stunning bouquets, like the best-selling 100 blooms for $19.99. Plus, ProFlowers will include a glass vase for free. Sending someone a wonderful surprise of beautiful flowers sent fresh from the fields is easy. Choose the bouquet you like, pick the delivery date, and each order is 100% guaranteed. Plus, all bouquets from ProFlowers are guaranteed to last at least 7 full days. Beautiful, fragrant flowers, picked fresh and sent to your loved one for lasting enjoyment. To get this incredible savings and send someone 100 gorgeous blooms with a free vase for $19.99, go to ProFlowers.com. Click the blue microphone in the top right corner and enter code PLOW. That's ProFlowers.com. Click the mic and enter code PLOW.
Free from the shackles of corporate America, we're the place for independent thinkers. GCN.
The following program is a rebroadcast of a previously aired show.
Hi, we're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking about anxiety. We'll be doing that today and we'll do it tomorrow. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll get to your phone calls here in just a minute. I want to tell you about a second great way that you can take care of panic attacks or anxiety attacks. The first thing you want to do is make sure you're turning on your parasympathetic nervous system by practicing deep breathing techniques. Secondly, the second most important thing you can do if you're dealing with anxiety issues is You want to avoid low blood sugar, hypoglycemia. When you eat anything that causes your insulin levels to rise quickly, you run a big-time risk of causing your blood sugar to drop precipitously fast. And one of the fastest ways, one of the surefire ways to activate your stress nervous system, your survival nervous system, next to a drop in blood oxygen, one of the fastest ways is to drop your blood sugar. As soon as the hypoglycemic, the low blood sugar signal is received by your survival nervous system or your survival system in the brain, and then your adrenal glands, you get a big shot of stress hormone cortisol into the blood, and that alone is all that's required to trigger a panic attack. If you're one of the millions of folks who are dealing with anxiety issues, it becomes super, super, super important for you to stay away from insulin spiking foods, those fast burning, sugary foods that we're always talking about here on the Bright Side.